You want more in your life, more success, more love, more money, more peace. That's natural. But here's the truth most people ignore. You'll never receive more until you fully appreciate what you already have. Gratitude isn't some fluffy concept for feel-good Instagram quotes. Gratitude is strategy, it's power. It's one of the most transformative tools you can ever use to upgrade your life. Not just emotionally, but physically, mentally, spiritually, yes, financially. Think about this. What happens when you wake up in the morning and your first thought is about what's missing in your life? What you don't have, what's not working, what you're afraid of. You start the day already in a deficit, emotionally bankrupt. Your energy shrinks. Your courage shrinks. Your possibilities shrink. But when you condition yourself to start with gratitude, to feel appreciation, not just say the words, you begin activating a force most people never tap into. You're no longer waiting for life to give you something before you feel good. You start generating that feeling on your own. And here's the kicker. You change your energy, you change your outcome. This isn't just mindset talk. This is biology. This is neuroscience. Your brain can't focus on fear and gratitude at the same time. When you shift to appreciation, you deactivate the stress response. As all drops, you think clearer. You breathe deeper. You begin making better decisions because you're not reacting from panic, but from peace. That peaceful, powerful state, it's magnetic. People feel it. Opportunities flow to it. Even the way you speak, walk, connect, it changes. You move from neediness to certainty, from lack to abundance. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop desperately wanting and start truly appreciating, you create the space to receive. Gratitude tells the universe, I see what you've given me, I trust more is coming. Now, does this mean you should stop dreaming big? Absolutely not. But gratitude is the fuel behind those dreams. Without it, you'll always chase fulfillment. With it, create fulfillment and results. Let's make it practical. Take 5 minutes a day. Write down 3 things you're deeply grateful for. Not vague things. Go deep. Be specific. Feel it. Maybe it's the strength you've built through pain. Maybe it's a mentor who believed in you. Maybe it's the fact that no matter how hard things are, you're still here, still fighting. Gratitude doesn't mean life is perfect. It means you choose to focus on what's strong instead of what's wrong. And from that foundation, you can build anything. So if you want to attract more joy, more wealth, more purpose, start by being grateful now, not when you get there. Now, because the secret is you're already rich in ways you've forgotten to count. And when you live from that space, the world responds. Gratitude is not just a nice idea. It's not just good manners or a fleeting emotion that comes around during holidays. It's an energy. It's a frequency. And when you learn how to truly embody it, not just intellectually understand it, it becomes one of the most powerful forces in your life. People think success is all about hustle, strategy, working longer hours, and yes, discipline matters. But if you're not operating from a state of appreciation, you'll constantly feel empty no matter how much you achieve. See, most people are trapped in the illusion that when they get there, then they'll be happy. When they get the house, the car, the promotion, the partner, then they'll finally feel good. But that model is broken. You're putting happiness on the other side of accomplishment. And in doing so, you're chasing something that keeps moving further away. The truth is, gratitude flips that whole system upside down. It allows you to feel good now, to access abundance now. And when you feel abundant, when you radiate appreciation, you attract more. Because what you feel consistently, you create more of. It's like tuning a radio. If you're on the frequency of lack, always thinking about what's missing, you'll only receive static. Opportunities fly by and you don't even notice. Solutions appear, but your mind is closed. You repel the very things you say you want. But the moment you shift into gratitude, you adjust your frequency. You start broadcasting a different message. I see what's good in my life. I honor what's working. Open to more. That energetic shift is real. It changes your perception. It opens your eyes to things that were always there, but hidden behind your old focus. You start to notice the people, the connections, the doors, the paths that were invisible before. Think about it. Have you ever been in a bad state where everything felt wrong and suddenly someone reminded you of how far you've come, of the challenges you've overcome, of the gifts you've forgotten? And in that moment, your entire mood shifted. That's not some magical accident. That's the power of appreciation realigning your emotional state, putting you back into power. Because gratitude and fear cannot coexist. The moment you choose to be grateful, you push fear out. And when fear is gone, you show up differently, you speak with more confidence, you act with more clarity. You begin to magnetize opportunities instead of chasing them in desperation. And it's not about pretending things are perfect. It's about learning to honor the progress, not just obsess over the problems. You start to realize, maybe I don't have everything I want yet, but I have the strength to pursue it. I have the tools. I have breath in my lungs. I have today. And when you start stacking those wins small, real things you're thankful for, your energy begins to grow. You rise. Successful people aren't successful because they never had problems. They're successful because they trained themselves to see beyond the problems. They cultivated gratitude even when life was difficult, especially when life was difficult. Because in those moments, gratitude becomes a weapon. It becomes your anchor. It keeps your spirit alive when your circumstances try to crush you. And here's what's wild. Gratitude doesn't just shift your emotions. It alters your biology. It strengthens your immune system. It boosts dopamine and serotonin levels in your brain, reduces stress hormones. It creates resilience, not just mentally, but physically. Your body starts to heal when your heart starts to appreciate. You become stronger because you're no longer living in resistance. You're no longer fighting against life, flowing with it. You're in alignment. So if you want to attract more into your life, if you want to raise your financial game, deepen your relationships, unlock your purpose, you must start by mastering the state of gratitude. It's not something that just happens when things go well. It's something you practice. You choose it. You train your mind to look for what's right, and you begin to speak it, feel it, live it. That energy you generate, it's real. It touches everything around you. You become someone people want to work with, trust, follow, love. You become someone who creates momentum, not just waits for it. Gratitude isn't soft. It's strength. It's discipline. It's the foundation for everything you want to build in your life. Because when you truly feel rich inside, life starts reflecting that richness back to you on the outside every single time. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. That's a law of life, and most people are completely unaware of how much power they're giving away just by what they choose to focus on every single day. See, the human brain is a meaning-making machine. It's constantly scanning, filtering, assigning meaning to every experience. But what you focus on most becomes your emotional home. It becomes your story, your identity, your reality. You can have two people living in the same environment, facing the same challenges, the same resources, and one will feel grateful, inspired, and empowered, while the other will feel stuck, bitter, and defeated. The difference. One is focusing on what's possible, what's growing, what's within their control, is focused on what's broken, what's missing, and what they can't change. The situation didn't define them, their focus did. And this is why gratitude is so powerful. Gratitude forces you to focus on what's good, even if it's small. The moment you shift your focus to what's working, you start to experience more energy, more creativity, more confidence. That focus literally starts to reshape your emotional state and your physiology. It's not imaginary, it's neurological. You've got something called the reticular activating system, RAs, in your brain. It acts like a filter. Out of the millions of pieces of information coming at you every second, the RAS decides what you notice, what you ignore, what stands out. Here's the catch. It only shows you what you've trained it to look for. If you constantly focus on problems, on why things never work, on how unfair life is, your brain will deliver more proof of that. It will filter reality to match your dominant thoughts. That becomes your truth. That becomes your story, and your story becomes your limitation. But when you begin to focus on solutions, on gratitude, on progress, what's possible, your RAS starts pulling in a whole new level of awareness. Suddenly, you notice opportunities that were always there, but your old focus blinded you from seeing them. People show up, ideas emerge, resources appear. You start to feel like life is working for you instead of against you. Not because the world changed, but because your focus did. This is why successful people train their focus. They don't allow their minds to be hijacked by negativity, by comparison, fear. They take command of it. They use rituals, questions language, whatever it takes to direct their attention to what empowers them. Because they understand whatever you keep your eyes on grows. If you're not consciously choosing what to focus on, you're letting your environment, your past, or your fears decide it for you. You can't wait for your circumstances to make you feel grateful. You choose gratitude first. That choice of focus shifts your energy, and energy is what moves everything. Relationships, business, growth, healing, it all responds to the energy you bring. Focus is the gateway to that energy. Let's make it practical. Imagine waking up every day and instead of checking your phone or diving into the noise of the world, you take 2 minutes to focus on what you want to experience that day, not just the to-do list, but the emotions, the joy, the clarity, the courage. Then you focus on what you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be your health, your breath, your family, your resilience. The more you focus there, the more you feel it. And the more you feel it, the more you project it. That projection changes how people respond to you. It changes how you show up in meetings, in conversations, in challenges. You become solution-oriented instead of problem-centered. You start making decisions from faith instead of fear. That's how momentum builds. One shift in focus, one better thought, one moment of gratitude repeated daily. Your focus is shaping your life right now, whether you're aware of it or not. So the question is, you focusing on what's missing or what's available? Are you focusing on how far you have to go or how far you've already come? Because that answer is writing your future before it ever shows up. Change your focus and you'll change your reality. Not someday. Right now, most people don't realize just how much of their life is being dictated by patterns they didn't consciously choose. The brain is a record of the past. It runs on habit, on memory, on repetition. When you go through life experiencing stress, disappointment, frustration, those emotions become familiar. They start to wire your brain to expect more of the same. That's not just philosophy, that's science. Your thoughts create your emotions. Over time, your most repeated emotions hardwire the way your brain functions. You become addicted to feeling a certain way, even if that feeling is limiting your future. But here's the truth, just like the brain can be wired by pain, it can also be rewired by purpose. Just like it can be shaped by stress, it can be reshaped by gratitude. Gratitude isn't just something you feel, it's something that literally changes your brain chemistry. When you practice real, emotional, Deep gratitude, not surface level niceness. You activate areas of the brain connected to empathy, logic, reasoning, and joy. You lower stress hormones like cortisol. You boost feel-good neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. It's like installing new software that says, I am safe, I am enough, I am open. But this matters because if your nervous system is constantly stuck in survival mode, worrying, judging, reacting, you're not thinking clearly and not being creative. You're just surviving, and nobody builds a great life from survival mode. But when you engage in gratitude consistently, you move out of reactivity and into intentionality. You move from anxiety into appreciation. You calm the mind, and when the mind calms down, clarity rises. Decisions become easier. Conversations become more grounded. Your energy becomes more magnetic. There's something extraordinary that happens when you create the habit of being grateful for what you have right now before anything changes. The act itself strengthens the neural pathways associated with hope, resilience, and satisfaction. You repeat it, the easier it becomes to access those emotions. Even when life throws you a curveball, you're no longer reacting from an old wound. You're responding from a new state, and that new state becomes your edge. Most people are waiting for external circumstances to trigger gratitude. They say, I'll be grateful when I finally get out of debt, when I find the right partner, when I reach the next level. But that formula keeps them trapped because they're reinforcing the belief that something is missing, and that belief reinforces the emotional pattern of lack. But gratitude flips that switch. It tells the brain, I already have enough. I'm already experiencing growth, already winning. And that mindset doesn't just feel good. It becomes the foundation of stronger decisions, better habits, and bigger results. Now let's be clear. This isn't about pretending your problems don't exist. It's about choosing to create a new dominant emotion, one that supports your growth instead of sabotaging it. Gratitude is that emotion. You can still want more. You can still dream big, but you start by anchoring in what's already beautiful, what's already strong, what's already working in your favor. And when that becomes your emotional baseline, the actions you take come from a place of power, not from a place of pressure. Imagine starting your day with a brain that's already tuned into joy, appreciation, and abundance. Imagine walking into a difficult situation, and instead of reacting with fear or frustration, you respond with confidence and calm. That's not magic. That's what happens when your brain has been trained to live in a grateful state. It becomes your new normal. And the people around you will feel that. The quality of your leadership shifts. Your presence becomes more grounding. You start attracting people and situations that match your new emotional frequency. And here's the key, this is trainable. Just like going to the gym, the more you practice gratitude, the stronger those emotional muscles become. Even just a few minutes a day, writing, speaking, meditating on what you're grateful for starts to rewire the mind. And over time, you're not forcing it. You're not faking it. You're actually becoming it. You're not just changing your mood. You're changing your brain. And when you change your brain, you change your life. There's something you need to understand about human emotion. Your brain can't fully process two opposing emotional states at once. It can't be in a true state of fear and a true state of gratitude simultaneously. One will always override the other. That's where the power of gratitude becomes truly transformational. Because when you step into a space of real appreciation, fear begins to lose its voice. It can't control you the same way, it shrinks. Fear is sneaky. It shows up as hesitation, procrastination, self-doubt. It convinces you that you're not ready, not worthy, not enough. It whispers all the things that could go wrong. It builds walls between you and your potential. When you're in a state of gratitude, when you're sincerely focused on what's right in your life, what's working, what you've already overcome, fear has no place to land. Gratitude doesn't just block fear, it dissolves it. It changes your internal dialogue from, what if I fail, to look how far I've already come. That shift in perspective alone can move mountains. Think about it. Have you ever been in a moment of deep fear, anxiety, or pressure? Then something reminds you, maybe it's a voice, a memory, a breakthrough, that you're stronger than you think. And suddenly you're filled with appreciation for your growth, your journey, the people in your corner. In that moment, fear loses its grip because appreciation fills the space where fear once lived. That's not coincidence. That's the emotional rewiring at work. It's real and it's available to you anytime. The problem is most people try to fight fear with logic. They try to rationalize their way out of anxiety. They say, I shouldn't feel this way, or I know it's not a big deal, but the body doesn't respond to logic, it responds to emotion, and gratitude is emotional truth. It's a state that bypasses the mental noise and drops you into something deeper. It reminds you that even in the middle of uncertainty, there's still something good, something strong, something worthy of acknowledgement. And that matters, because the moment you shift your focus to what's going well, you stop feeding fear. You stop adding fuel to the fire. Instead, you start growing certainty. And certainty is the antidote to fear. It's the energy that moves you forward when everything around you is trying to hold you back. But you don't build certainty through control. You build it through emotional mastery. You build it by training your mind to find gratitude even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You see, courage doesn't mean you're never afraid. It means you've learned how to access a higher state even when fear shows up. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to access that higher state. It calms the nervous system. It brings you back to the present. It reminds you that you've already survived things you once thought would break you. It grounds you in truth. That truth creates momentum, because when you're in a grateful state, you take action from power, not panic. You speak with purpose. You connect with people differently. You stop needing everything to be perfect before you move. You start moving from alignment, from trust, from vision. That's where breakthroughs happen. This isn't about denying that fear exists. It's about refusing to let it control the decisions that shape your life. It's about replacing the voice of fear with the voice of gratitude over and over until it becomes your default response. And when that becomes your default, fear starts to fade. It loses its strength. You begin to realize that fear was never the real enemy. It was just the absence of appreciation. Every time you feel fear creeping in, you have a choice. You can feed it or you can shift. You can breathe. You can pause. You can remember something, anything that reminds you of how far you've come, of what you've already gained, of what you still have to fight for. And in that moment, something changes. Your shoulders relax. Your chest opens. Your mind clears. That's not a small thing. That's transformation. So if you want to weaken fear's grip, don't fight it. Starve it. Starve it with gratitude. Replace the fear of loss with appreciation for what's already here. Replace the fear of failure with gratitude for your courage to try. And the more you do that, you'll start to see that everything you thought fear was protecting you from, gratitude is leading you toward. There's a moment in everyone's life when they look around and feel like something's missing. Like no matter what they've accomplished, it's not enough. They've done the work, pushed through the pain, hit the goals, and still that lingering voice says, you should be further by now. That voice is what keeps people trapped in a cycle of chasing, always running toward the next thing, hoping it will finally fill the gap. But here's the truth, that gap isn't real. It's a perception problem. It's what happens when you focus on what you lack instead of what you have. And gratitude is the force that destroys that illusion. Gratitude is the key that unlocks a completely different experience of life. It turns lack into fullness. It transforms striving into peace. When you train yourself to genuinely appreciate what's already in your life, you start seeing value where you once saw void. You stop looking at your current season as something to escape from and start seeing it as something that's shaping you. The truth is, you've already overcome more than you give yourself credit for. You've already become someone you once only dreamed of becoming. But if you don't stop to recognize that, to feel it in your bones, you'll keep living like you're behind, even when you're ahead. This is what so many high achievers miss. They hit milestone after milestone, but they never feel satisfied. Why? Because their mind is constantly fixated on what's next instead of being grounded in what's now. And without gratitude, even abundance feels empty. Even success feels like a burden. Doesn't matter how much you accomplish, how much you earn, or how many people admire you. If you don't feel like it's enough, it won't be. But when you cultivate real gratitude, something powerful shifts. You begin to realize it's not the thing that makes you feel fulfilled. It's the meaning you attach to it. And gratitude gives everything more meaning. When you practice gratitude consistently, you start to feel whole again. You look at your life and instead of seeing what's broken, you see what's working. You stop measuring yourself against impossible standards and start recognizing how far you've come. And from that place, you're no longer acting out of desperation. You're acting from a deep sense of alignment. That's where real power comes from. Not from needing more, but from knowing you already have something valuable inside you. Think about this. You focus on what you don't have. Your energy contracts, your body tightens, your decisions come from a place of fear. You become reactive, you hold back. But when you focus on what you do have, your strengths, your growth, your relationships, your resilience, your energy expands. You open up, you move with confidence, you attract more because you're no longer acting like you're running out. You're radiating a sense of more than enough. And life responds to that. This isn't about complacency. Gratitude doesn't mean settling. It doesn't mean you stop striving. It means you strive from a place of overflow, not emptiness. It means you move towards your future with joy, not pressure. You build from wholeness, not from the illusion of lack. Because when you truly feel abundant, you naturally create more abundance. Not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. It all comes back to one simple shift. Instead of waking up every day thinking about what's missing, you train yourself to see what's present. Instead of thinking, I need more, you start saying, I have more than I thought. And that perspective, it changes your chemistry, your choices, and your entire experience of life. You begin to feel peace where there used to be anxiety. You feel momentum where there used to be resistance. You feel fulfilled in the journey, not just at the finish line. So the next time that voice shows up, the one that says you're behind, you're not enough, you're lacking something, pause, breathe, and take inventory of everything that's real in your life right now. The battles you've survived, the growth you've earned, the people who love you, the strength inside you that doesn't always show on the outside. Count those things, feel them. Because when you do, you'll realize you were never lacking. You just forgot to notice how rich your life already is. Gratitude isn't just something you feel when life goes right. It's the doorway to more. More clarity, more peace, more progress, more abundance. Most people have been conditioned to think that receiving comes from working harder, pushing more, grinding endlessly. And while effort matters, it's not the full picture. There's a deeper truth at play. You don't receive more just because you chase it. You receive more when you're ready to hold it. And the readiness begins with gratitude. Think about it. How can you expect life to give you more when you're not even recognizing what you already have? When you're focused only on what's missing, it's not good enough. What hasn't shown up yet, you create emotional resistance. And that resistance pushes away the very things you want. It's like trying to fill a cup that's got a lid on it. Gratitude removes that lid. It says, I'm open. I see what's already flowing into my life. I honor it. I'm ready for more. But this is where most people get it wrong. They think they need to feel frustrated to stay motivated. They think if they get too content, they'll lose their edge. That's not contentment. That's complacency. Gratitude doesn't make you lazy. It makes you powerful. It clears the internal blocks that stop so many people from receiving the blessings sitting right in front of them. Because the truth is, opportunities don't just show up. They show up for people who are emotionally and energetically ready to see them. And if you're not living in gratitude, you'll miss them every time. Gratitude trains you to stop looking at life through the lens of lack. And that shift opens up space. Space in your mind, your heart, and your life. Space where more can enter. Because what you appreciates. You begin to value what's already here. You increase its worth. Not just to you, but to the world around you. You start to take care of it more. You treat it better. You show up with more integrity, more intention, more joy. And life begins to mirror that energy back to you. When you're grateful, you're not forcing things. You're not trying to control everything. You're not chasing out of fear. You're moving with faith. There's a trust that begins to build inside you. You begin to believe that things are unfolding as they should. And that belief opens the door for more to flow in. Not because you sat back and waited, but because you moved from a place of alignment. You've probably had times in your life when everything just seemed to click. When things came together naturally, people showed up at the right time, solutions appeared before you even asked. That wasn't luck, that was alignment. You were in a space of emotional openness and life met you there. That's what gratitude creates. It pulls you out of fear and frustration and into presence and peace. And when you're present, you can receive, you can notice. You can act not from desperation, but from discernment. And it's not just about material things. Yes, gratitude can absolutely open doors to greater wealth, greater success, and better relationships. It also helps you receive things that matter even more: peace of mind, deeper connections, a stronger sense of self-worth. These are the things people are really chasing underneath the surface. And gratitude gives them to you now. Anything external has changed, because it's not about waiting for your circumstances to give you permission to feel fulfilled. It's about choosing that fulfillment first, and then watching how the world responds to that frequency. Because life is always responding. Every thought, every emotion, every belief is sending out a signal. And gratitude sends out one of the clearest, most powerful signals there is. It says, I see what's good. I'm ready for more. Reject it when it comes. I won't block it. I'll receive it fully. And when you send that signal consistently, the universe has no choice but to respond in kind. It begins to move in ways that support your growth. Not because you begged for it, but because you became the version of yourself who could hold it. So if you're ready for more, don't start with the external. Start inside. Start with gratitude. Start with recognizing the beauty in your current life, even if it's messy, even if it's hard. Because when you do that, you prove that you're ready for what's next. And once you're ready, life delivers. Every time.